what's that called? Wait, what's that? What was that?
What does dogs do?
A dog.
Oh,
To pee. But what do they pee?
What are they
Why?
doing?
Oh, marking territory?
Oh.
How are we marking territory though?
We mark our territory with our urine.
Yeah.
It marks our territory. It's like a control of where I begin and you end. Of this is my space. She had to let her parents sort of invade her space when she has to give them her bad grade. So by her holding in her pee, she is trying to control the environment, the situation of not letting them into her bad grade where they could beat her up or whatever the consequence was. And then in fact she would get a UTI. UTIs are directly related with controlling and organizing our territories. And anytime I have clients with UTIs and I bring that up, they can usually find a correlation to it.
What about the stomach?
What about the stomach?
Like, I wouldn't have that problem with the bad grades, but I still do have problems with lying.
Okay.
Going back to the whole lying, getting caught lying. So whenever my mom has found something that I've done or that I've said and it was a lie, I get so nervous, I start shaking, but mostly my stomach gets so upset, I either have to go to the bathroom or sometimes I've thrown up so much that I've suffered from gastritis and ulcers. So to
We talked about
a point that I would throw up so much, I would start throwing up my stomach acid.
Perfect. What is the purpose? I want you to get in the habit of asking questions and saying, what is the purpose of asking the question? What is the purpose of the body? What was the purpose of Freddie Mercury standing up so straight and tall?
So that he could hide the...
If I am elegant and tall, I'm overcompensating the fact that I look dorky with these clunky teeth, right? I need grace in other parts of my body because my teeth are not graceful. I need beautiful long hair because at 5 years old I wasn't allowed to, and never again will I be mocked at me not being beautiful, so I'm going to stay up and watch YouTube videos and I'm going to have intact, gorgeous hair. That's just... It's an overcompensation. That's the psychology behind it. What is the function of the acid in the body?
To break down the food and what we eat, what we drink, what we take in.
Okay,
It's
to break down the macronutrients, carbohydrate, fat, and protein, especially protein. So it's to break something down into smaller pieces. So if you have an excess of acid, either you need to make your lie into smaller pieces so it's not figured out, or you can't swallow the fact that you're lying, that you have to regurgitate it up if you're vomiting. What's the purpose of vomit? Vomit is to get something out that's toxic. So if you start getting in the habit of asking, what is the function of that body part, or what is the function of that behavior, you will always get to the solution. The problem is the solution is the problem. Those two are always intertwined. I used to talk about that quite a bit. So let's reiterate. The problem and the solution are always the same. So there's a reason that you have to vomit. You would have to vomit your lie because you're not supposed to lie, you have a judgment about it. Or you need to break something down into such small pieces, you need to break it down into smaller things so that you're able to swallow your own lie, for instance. So those things can be related. Now you have already done part of the homework because you've identified it's when it's lying. I wouldn't have known that off the bat if I was your therapist. I would have had to ask questions. When does this happen? when are you most likely to be prone to do this? She shared a story. Can you share a story with me that this happened? And then you could say, oh, when I lie, blah, blah, blah. Oh, lying, speaking, fifth chakra. I would ask you, do you have any thyroid stuff? Then you would tell me. The other day you shared that you had some throat stuff. And then we would see. But the problem and the solution are always together, because the subconscious does not know a better way to solve the problem. So it finds the logical solution. But the logical solution is stupid. Stupid. It doesn't work. It's dumb. You guys weren't here, but when I first started here, I shared a very intimate thing about my life, and I'll share it again. I was first married to a very, very abusive man, and one of the areas that he was abusive was sexually. I then married a man who had prostate cancer, who sexually could not perform. So how did I solve the problem of sexual abuse? I found someone who could not perform. Then, how did I solve that again? I found a man who didn't even have a penis. I married a transgender man. So I found a solution to the problem, which was sexual abuse. I never want to be abused again sexually by a man. So I found a man who was a woman. That is a stupid solution, people. But that's the only thing your subconscious knows how to do, is to find a stupid solution, because it's rooted in logic. It just says, oh, I have a problem, let me find the logical response. I don't want my parents to invade my territory and hurt me, let's say they beat you, then let me withhold what my territory is, let me not pee, or just thought of something. If bad grades are a waste, are bad news, and the grossest thing I have in my body is my pee, let me withhold my pee, which is disgusting, just like a bad grade. UTI. Can you see that? These are stupid solutions, but they're the only ones that the subconscious has. Our job is to find that space and help clients decide that there are other options. Francis, you don't need to know how to do everything. Ask someone else who might have another option. And lo and behold, she calls her husband, who had the smart idea of picking up the freaking phone. And the two of us are on the internet.
Call them.
Call them, he said. Call them. Gee, mind-blowing. The two of us here with our internet. No, are you going to hear the funniest thing? She calls me from her desk.
I'm too lazy to get up.
She called me from her desk. We had the answer right there. It was on the phone. It wasn't to talk to the two of us. So I walk over to her desk, and I'm talking to her. And then I said, well, let's call before we press purchase to the new policy. And that was when
But I
we
told
solved
you,
the
tell her
problem.
on the phone. Call them. On the phone.
And that was her husband's advice. So you find a different answer, but sometimes you need a third person, because you and you are going to come up with the same stupid solution over and over and over again. Hence, you have a therapist. Oh my God, and all of a sudden you have a different solution, and you're like, oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's what that means? Oh, could that be? And the therapist didn't do anything but just provide a different possibility. That's it. Just a possibility that might be different than your stupid solution that you just keep going round and round and round and round and round, the dog chasing its tail. Yes.
And sometimes when a client is in that state of mind where they're going around and around and around, sometimes just by saying to them, stop, what what do you think you should do about it?
Yeah.
Just making them stop running around and thinking about what they're going to do. And then they might say, well, what could I do? Well, I could call and find out why. And that would have been it. That would have been the solution. Instead of, well, we're not. So that's another way sometimes is just to make them stop running and ask them what they should do. And they'll come up with their own answers.
Right, and on the spot homework. Or homework to take for the end of the session. Next week, come up with 3 alternative solutions or talk to 3 different people and ask them how they would solve this problem. Not for anything else, but to get them out of their own head, to get them closer to balance. That's it, to get you out of, I was here, totally. I needed to get closer to a balance. We need to get clients closer to this wise mind or this balance so that they can birth new solutions. If not, they're going to keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So, I know many of you stress out about the fact that you don't have concrete questions to ask your clients, right? So we're going to do an activity today where I'm going to give you a handout and you're going to ask question by question by question. Look at that. This is not something you're going to use every single time, but there are tools, okay? So first we're going to do me with one of you, and we're going to see how it unfolds, and then we're going to break it into groups, and we're going to do it with each other. So who wants to be the client? First, let me read to you what this says. Analyzing the chain of events that led to a problem behavior. And I'm going to hand this out. Have you ever found yourself doing something you later regretted, like saying something harsh to someone, hurting yourself, or going back to the addiction? Maybe you told yourself you would never do it again. We do that all the time. Or maybe you felt like someone else drove you to do it. It's so easy to blame everyone else for why we do things, or why we react the way we do. You probably have every right to do so, since you may experience terrible mistreatment in your life. However, if you always blame others for your situation, this means your life and happiness is completely based on what others do or on the random events in the environment. That's a hell of a way to live. So let me stop there for a minute. How many of you, I personally live, and I just learned this recently from this little book. How many, that's the hospital. Hello?